Very good morning to all the students, and I welcome you back to our channel School of Geography India. Well, today we are going to begin with the fifth chapter, that is Mineral and Energy Resources. Well, students, this chapter is very important because in this chapter we are basically going to understand about different types of minerals which are present in our country. We will be understanding the classification of minerals, where they occur, different types of minerals which are available in our country. Plus, we will talk about the reckless mining activities of these minerals, and also we are going to suggest further the methods of conserving these minerals. Similarly, the second part of the chapter deals with the energy resources, and these energy resources also we will study on the same basis, that what are different energy potentials which are available in our country. Plus, we will also suggest and find the methods of conserving these resources on a whole. So let us begin our chapter from page number 50, and the first part of the chapter is dedicated to the minerals. Well, the chapter begins with an innocent incident that talks about a small boy who is fascinated with a box like structure or a house like structure that is moving along the road. Well, the boy is not able to analyze that what is this thing in which they are moving and why is it ultimately moving. So the father tells him that this is a train, and father in this small interaction with the child, you can see, has made use of different types of metals like bricks, stones, iron, aluminium. Similarly, the next paragraph talks about a very common commodity which we make use on everyday basis, that is toothpaste. But if you see the composition of toothpaste, it consists of several minerals in combined form, which ultimately gives you the toothpaste. So basically, we are going to first of all understand from the first paragraph of this chapter, you will be understanding the importance of minerals as such for countries' economic growth. So let us see what does it says. The first paragraph talks about here is that we use different types of minerals in our daily life, which is made from metal. You can list the number of items used in your house made of metals. Where do these metals come from? You have studied that Earth's crust is made up of different minerals embedded in rocks. Various metals are extracted from these minerals after proper refinement. Minerals are an indispensable part of our lives. Almost everything we use, from a tiny pin to a towering building or a ship, all are made from minerals. The railway lines, the road pavings, our implements and machinery too are made up of minerals. Car, buses, train, aeroplane, and lot many examples you can give where we are using minerals in different form. In all stages of development, human beings have used minerals for their livelihood, decoration, festivity, religious ceremonies, etc. So, well, this paragraph talks about the variety of minerals which we are using in our daily lives. Whether those minerals are in raw material form or they are in finished forms. But yes, our life is directly affected by the presence of different types of minerals around us. And the first paragraph of your chapter can be asked from 5 marks question point of view, that highlight the importance of minerals for a country or for an economy. So yes, of course, you can get the answer from here, that from a small needle that is used in your home to the towering ship that moves on the huge water body ocean, the minerals are being used somewhere to produce these things. Well, not only that we are making external use of these minerals, but minerals are also important part of our diet. Now you see the although mineral intake is only 0.3% in the total intake of the nutrients in our body, but the 99.7% nutrients cannot be observed by our body if we are not taking that 0.3% of the mineral intake. The nutrients which are present in the food stuff that cannot be consumed by our body in the absence of 0.3% of mineral content in our body. So you can well imagine that minerals are not only important for us for running the economy, but it is also important from our health parameters. Why do we eat different types of food? Why do we need a balanced diet? This is because we are deriving different types of nutrients from the food stuff, which somewhere is giving growth and energy to our body. So there will be two different point of view to understand the definition of minerals. One is from a geologist point of view and one is from the geographer's point of view. So let us understand from geologist point of view what are minerals. Geologists define minerals as a homogeneous, naturally occurring substance with a definable internal structure. Minerals are found in varied forms in nature, ranging from hardest diamond to the softest talc. Why are they so varied? So you basically know, well, according to geologists, what are minerals is it is a homogeneous structure which with a definite definable internal structure. Minerals, they are found in varied form and it ranges from the hardest mineral, for example the diamond, to the softest mineral as that of talc. So this is the definition of, according to the geologist. Geologists are basically the scientists who study the geology. Geology means the earth structure. So their definition is given from their point of view only. They are concerned with the composition of the minerals, that what it consists of and what is the arrangement of the minerals in connection to one another. You have already learnt about rocks. Rocks are combination of homogeneous substances called mineral. Some rocks, for instance limestone, consist of a single mineral only, but majority of rock consist of several minerals in varying proportion. Although over 2000 minerals have been identified, only a few are abundantly found in most of the rocks. So you already know that what are rocks. Rocks are nothing but the accumulated minerals together. If you spread the rock, it will be something like mud in a spreaded form, and if you collect it together, all that mud is collected together, that will be again forming back into the rock. Some rocks, of course, there are, because variety of rocks are present, so definitely variety of features are also present in these rocks. Some rocks, every rock has varying proportions of different types of minerals present in it, and there are over 200 minerals which have been 2000 minerals, which have been identified. Particular mineral that will be found from certain combination of elements depends upon the physical and chemical condition under which the material is formed. So what kind of minerals will be found in which region, that totally depends upon the physical and the chemical conditions or the climatic conditions which are formed in that particular region. Thus in turn results in wide range of color, hardness, crystal form, luster and density that particular mineral possesses. Geologists use these properties to classify minerals. So these are some features of the minerals which you might have seen, that basically when we see minerals all together, several minerals together at one place, we will try to distinguish one mineral from another on these properties, which are its color, its hardness, crystals. Crystal means how it has been joined together, and then luster, the shine in it, then density, whether it is very heavy or it is light. So these are some of the properties on the basis of which minerals can be distinguished from one another, and these are the major criteria on the basis of which a geologist is going to identify different types of minerals or will be separating one type of mineral from another. But when you talk about the minerals from geographers' point of view, geographers study minerals as a part of earth crust. for a better understanding of the landform, that what type of landform is found in one particular region and why that landform is found there, what is the arrangement of that landform, what are the factors which have ultimately led to the formation of that kind of landform. So geographer's point of view is also concerned with the economic criteria that interests geographer. Geologist, however, is interested in the formation of the minerals, their age and physical and chemical composition, but geographers will be more interested to know the economic activities that can be taken up with that particular mineral as such. So first of all, it is very important to understand that what are the different types of minerals or where they can be found. So if you just look at the flow chart which is given on page number 51 of your book, you can clearly see the classification of minerals. First, the mineral is classified into three broad categories, that is the metallic minerals, non-metallic minerals and energy resources. We have already discussed this before, that this chapter is mainly divided into two parts. One is dealing with minerals and the other one is dealing with energy resources. So minerals are metallic, non-metallic and energy resource. Now metallic resources are ferrous and non-ferrous and precious. Ferrous means that contains iron. Non-ferrous means without iron, and precious means the ornamental type of minerals which are of high value amongst the people and which are basically used for jewelry purposes. Then you have, this was the category of metallic. Second is non-metallic. Non-metallic means mica, salt, potash, sulfur, granite, limestone, marble, which is mainly in the powdered form. Then you have energy resources. That means the minerals that provides energy which can by being used as fuel. So here example is coal, petroleum and natural gas. So this is the classification of the minerals: metallic, non-metallic and energy resources, and basically you have to give various examples under each type of minerals. Then the second thing which you need to understand is mode of occurrence, that where are these minerals found and why are these minerals found there. So let us revert back to your previous classes and let us understand the occurrence of the minerals. So here we are going to talk about different types of rocks which you already know, the igneous rock, sedimentary rock and metamorphic rock, and depending upon the rock type, the mineral will also variate from each type of rock. The minerals will be different. So what are these minerals? Where are these minerals found? So minerals are usually found in ores. In term, ore is used to describe an accumulation of any mineral mixed with other element. So when there is accumulation means together. When there is a huge amount of any particular mineral that is found in the earth surface, that is known as ore of that mineral. The mineral content of ore must be in sufficient concentration to make its extraction commercially viable. Now you have already seen that large scale mining activities goes around all over the country and wherever the minerals are present, so that the demand for the minerals from the industries can be met up. But you must understand this one thing, that in order to exploit a mineral resource from one particular region, it is very important that that particular mineral should be available in abundant of supply. That means that huge amount of that particular mineral should be present over there. Otherwise, in the amount of investment that would be required in extracting the minerals from the mines will be more than the profit which you are going to get out of its extraction. So the concentration should be high enough so that it is economically feasible and practical as well, and it is profitable to extract minerals from that particular region. So the amount of minerals present should be in quite huge quantity so that it becomes a profitable fare. Now let us understand that where are these minerals formed. Minerals are basically because it is found in the earth's surface, so definitely earth is not uniform all throughout. We have different types of rocks which are found on the earth. So depending upon the type of rock minerals are present, their properties will also variate along with the types of rock. In igneous and metamorphic rocks, minerals may occur in the cracks, crevices, faults, or joints. The smaller occurrences are called veins and the bigger ones are called lodes. In most cases, they are formed when minerals in liquid, molten, and gaseous forms are forced upward through the cavities towards the earth's surface. They cool and solidifies as they rise. Major metallic minerals like tin, copper, zinc, lead, etc. are obtained from the veins and lodes. So what is it telling you about over here is that igneous and metamorphic rocks are basically the hard rocks. So how the minerals are found in this is when the due to the pressure and temperature prevailing inside the earth's surface, the molten magma is forced to rise up, and this molten magma, wherever it gets space to settle down inside the earth's surface as well as outside the earth's surface, and later with the passage of time this molten magma, liquid magma, it cools down and it solidifies in the same location where it has intruded into. So this type of this molten magma on solidification turns into the different types of minerals which are present inside the earth's surface. So this they have already given you, that the mineral present in smaller occurrences is called veins, whereas larger occurrences is called lodes. Then we come to the second type of rock, that is sedimentary rock. Sedimentary rock, as you already know, it is the rock which is formed because of the deposition of the sediments which takes place one layer over the other. The beds or the layers of the sediments get deposited over the one layer or over the other, and after some time it gets compacted together, and ultimately it leads to formation of sedimentary rock. So how is these sediments being brought down? These sediments, they have been formed as a result of deposition and accumulation and concentration in horizontal strata. That means with the agents of erosion, when the sediments are brought down and they are deposited at different location, and then one layer after the other compacted form, it gives the sedimentary rock formation. And the minerals which are found in the sedimentary rock forms are mainly the fossil fuels, that is coal, then iron, and then petroleum, different types of gases. These types of minerals are found in sedimentary rock. Coal and some forms of iron ore have been concentrated as a result of long period under the great heat and pressure. Another group of sedimentary minerals include gypsum, potash, salt, sodium salt. These are formed as a result of evaporation, especially in the arid region. That means the salts are contained, and when the water get evaporated, the leftover minerals are which are left behind. These are the salts which are derived after the process of evaporation. The third location where the minerals are found is another mode of formation involves decomposition of the earth's surface and removal of the soluble constituents, leaving a residual mass of the weathered material containing ores. Bauxite is formed this way. So what is happening over here? The soluble material get washed away along with the water, and it is carried away and it gets deposited somewhere. Sometime the deposited material, or sometime the residual material of the weathered residual mass of the weathered material, it contains the ore of any particular minerals in it. So bauxite is also formed in the same manner. Next is certain alluvial deposits, or these are also known as placer deposit. Placer deposits or alluvial deposits means that the minerals where they are originally formed, they are not found in that, they may be found in that region also, but sometime along with the agent of denudation like river, glacier, or moving ice, etc., or the sea waves, they get carried away and get deposited at some other place. So these are called placer deposits or the alluvial deposits, which are originating from some other place, but sometimes they are found in some other locations. The next location where minerals are found is the ocean beds. You know that ocean water contains vast quantities of minerals, but most of these are too widely diffused to be economic significance. However, common salt, magnesium, bromine are largely derived from the ocean waters. Ocean beds too are rich in the manganese nodules. So this is the last location, that means the ocean floor. Ocean floor, you know that ocean is a storehouse of huge quantity and quality and variety of minerals which can be found from the base of the ocean. So these are the 5 locations where the minerals are found. The first one is different types of rocks, that is igneous and metamorphic. Second is sedimentary rock. Third location is that is on the decomposition of the surface rock, the soluble constituent gets washed away or it is left back. Then certain placer deposits, and lastly the ocean floor. These are the locations where you can find the minerals. In the box you can see an interesting fact have been given. They're talking about rat hole mining. Do you know that most of the minerals in India are nationalized and their extraction is possible only after obtaining due permission from the government? But in most of the tribal areas of the northeast India, minerals are owned by individuals or communities. In Meghalaya, there are large deposits of coal, iron ore, limestone, and dolomite, etc. Coal mining in Juai and Cherrapunji is done by family members in the form of long narrow tunnel known as rat hole mining. So what is this rat hole mining basically is that instead of digging huge mines, they probably dig a small hole which is basically resembling the a hole as that of a rat, but obviously it is not all that small. But this is kind of a illegal practice that is taken up because usually these mining areas are under the government control, because these minerals are largely in demand from the government sector, from the industrial sector. That is why it is to be controlled by the government. And these in the northeastern states of our country, these resources are individually owned by the tribal people. So in order to avoid any litigation from the government, they practice mining activities on illegal basis, in which they usually do not dig out a big mine area, but they do it on a very small scale and on a hidden scales. So this is what rat hole mining technique is. India is fortunate to have fairly rich and varied mineral resources. However, these are unevenly distributed. Broadly speaking, peninsular rocks contain most of the reserves of coal. Metallic minerals, mica, and many other non-metallic minerals. Sedimentary rocks on the western and the eastern flank of peninsula in Gujarat, Assam have mostly petroleum deposits. Rajasthan, with the rock system of peninsula, has reserves of many non-ferrous minerals. Vast alluvial plains of North India are almost devoid of economic minerals. These variations exist largely because of the difference in the geological structure, process and time involved in the formation of minerals. So yes, this is very much correct that the distribution of minerals is varying in one particular region to another. That basically depends upon various factors such as your physiography, your climatic variations, plus the human activities are also responsible, and time taken for the formation of the minerals. So from that point of view, we can precisely say that large scale minerals are found towards the southern part of our country, whereas less minerals are found in the northern region. Therefore, you can say that industries are mainly located towards the southern side of our country. Let us now study the distribution of few major minerals in India. Always remember that concentration of mineral in the ore, the ease of extraction and closeness to the market play an important role in affecting the economic viability of a resource. Thus, to meet the demand, choice has to be made between the number of possible options. When this is done, a mineral deposit or a reserve turns into a mine. So this can be given. This question here, it is forming a statement over here, and this statement can be asked in the question to elaborate. 5 marks point of view. When does a deposit or a reserve turns into mine? So what are the prerequisite for this? That concentration of minerals or in the ore should be in good quantity, ease of extraction should be there, closeness to the market should be there, and economical viability of the reserves. These are the factors that will determine whether whether the reserves and deposits of minerals actually turns into mine or not. So let us understand first of all, or let us see the different types of minerals which are present in our country. Well, we will not be able to do about each one of them, but yes, few have been mentioned in your book. First of all is the ferrous minerals. Ferrous minerals means the minerals which contain iron in it. Ferrous minerals account for about 3/4 of the total value of production of the metallic minerals. They provide a strong base for the development of metallurgy industries. India exports substantial quantities of ferrous minerals after meeting her internal demand. So ferrous is mainly, we are talking about the metallic minerals which are present in the earth's crust, and how largely they are determining the metallurgy industry of India. And India, after keeping sufficient amount of minerals for itself, after meeting its internal demand, lot of quantity is also exported to different countries all over the world. So the first ferrous mineral which we are going to talk about is iron ore. Iron ore, you can well understand and you can estimate yourself that what is the importance of iron ore in the economy. Your iron provides an infrastructure to the country. You can see that entire infrastructure of the country is developed on iron, with the help of iron only. The huge bridges, the huge railway tracks on which we move with lot of confidence that it is safe. So that all depends upon iron. So iron ore is the basic mineral and the backbone of the industrial development. Iron is called to be the backbone of the industrial development. Well, India is endowed with fairly abundant reserves of iron ore. India is rich in good quality iron ores. Magnetite is the finest iron ore with very high content of iron up to 70%. It has an excellent magnetic qualities, especially valuable in electric industry. Hematite ore is the most important industrial iron ore in terms of quantity used, but has slightly lower iron content than magnetite. So magnetite and hematite. 70% magnetite is the best quality iron ore, and second is hematite with 50 to 60% of iron content in it. And iron ore provides the backbone to your civilization, to your industries, because whatever the machinery itself is being used in the industry, that is also made up of iron ore only. So we have to further see the belts where iron ore is present in India. First is Urisa Jharkhand belt. Now Urisa Jharkhand belt, these type from this portion, specifically 3 marks question comes, and you have to give the features of the particular belt which is asked. Like they can ask a question, give 3 features of Urisa Jharkhand belt. So in Orissa, high-grade hematite ore is found in Badampur mines in Mayurbhanj and Keonjhar district. So this is the first feature, that mainly high-grade hematite ore is found in this region. Second is, in adjoining Singhbhum district of Jharkhand, hematite iron ore is mined in Gua and Naumati. So basically not much of the features are given over here, but if this question is asked for 3 marks point of view, then you have to write a short note on this. Second is Durgbastar Chandrapur belt. Now Durgbastar Chandrapur belt, where does it lies? It lies in Chhattisgarh and Maharashtra. Very high grade, second feature, very high grade hematite is found in the famous Baladia range hills in Bastar district of Chhattisgarh. Third is the range of the hills. Hematite comprises of 14 deposits of super high grade hematite iron ore. 14 deposits of super grade hematite iron ore. It has the best physical properties needed for steel making. So the hematite or iron which is found in the Durgbastar Chandrapur belt, it is very good for steel making. Iron ore from these mines is exported to Japan and South Korea via Vishakhapatnam. So this is also one of the property which can be given over here with reference to Durgbastar Chandrapur belt. Third is Bellary, Chitradurg and Chikmagalur Tumkaru belt in Karnataka. It has large reserves of iron ore. Kedarmukh mines located in western Ghats of Karnataka are 100% export unit. So large quantity of export takes place from Kedarmukh mines in Karnataka. Kedarmukh deposits are known to be one of the largest in the world. Very important point. The ore is transported as slurry through pipeline to the port near Mangalore. So this is again a peculiar feature of this area, that the iron ore is transported through pipelines in the slurry form, that is in the semi-liquid form, to the Mangaluru port for export purposes. Then we have the last belt, that is Maharashtra Goa belt. This includes the state of Goa and Ratnagiri districts of Maharashtra. Though the ores are not very high quality, yet they are efficiently exploited. Iron ore is exported through Marmagua port. So basically you will see that there is nothing much of explanation in this topic. You are only going to understand the locations in different states where in that particular state these types of minerals are found, and some basic specific features will also have to be mentioned. So next is manganese. Manganese is mainly used in manufacturing of steel and ferromanganese alloy. Alloy is mixture of 2 or 3 metals together. Now they are telling you over here, nearly 10 kgs of manganese is required to manufacture 1 ton of steel. 10 kg of manganese to produce 1 ton of steel. It is also used in manufacturing bleaching powder, insecticide and paints. And Urisa is one of the largest producer of manganese, but that is as per the data of 2000-2001. This we have completed ferrous minerals. Then we have non-ferrous minerals. So non-ferrous minerals, India reserves and production of non-ferrous minerals is not very satisfactory. Minerals which are included in non-ferrous categories are copper, bauxite, lead, zinc, gold play a vital role in number of metallurgy, engineering and electrical industries. Let us study the distribution of copper and bauxite. So in non-ferrous category, we are only going to deal with 2 types of non-ferrous minerals, that is copper and bauxite. India is critically deficit in the reserves of production of copper. Being malleable, ductile and good conductor, copper is mainly used in electrical cables, electronic and chemical industry. The Balghat mines in Madhya Pradesh, Khetri mines in Rajasthan and Singhbhum district of Jharkhand are leading producer of copper. So these the areas which are shown given in by the names over here, you must be able to plot and find out these areas on the map also. So with reference to copper, you have already seen that India is critically deficit. Then we talk about bauxite. Though several ores contain aluminium, it is from the bauxite, a clay-like substance, that alumina and later aluminium is obtained. So in order to obtain aluminium, bauxite is very important. And you can see these days that aluminium is large scale. It is used for the construction purposes, where the strength of iron is not needed, but the reliability and security measures are to be kept in mind. There, instead of iron, aluminium is largely used for interiors of the houses. So bauxite deposits are formed by the decomposition of a wide variety of rocks which are rich in mainly aluminium silicates. Aluminium is an important metal because it combines the strength of metals such as iron with extreme lightness and also with good conductivity and great malleability. Aluminium is one such such metal which has the strength of iron, metal like iron, and but it is extremely light. So you might have mainly seen that aluminium is largely used for different purposes. India's bauxite deposits are mainly found in Amarkantak Plateau, Michael Hills, and Plateau region of Bilaspur, Katni. Urisa was the largest bauxite producing state, 34.97%. Country's total production in 2010 and 11, 9 and 10. Panchampatmali deposits in Kodapur districts, the most important bauxite deposit in the state. This can be 1 mark question. So there is not much of explanation in this, but yes, you must be able to identify these areas on the maps. So there is a very interesting fact which is given over here, that after the discovery of aluminium, Emperor Napoleon III wore buttons and hooks on his clothes which were made up of aluminium, and served food to his more illustrious guests in aluminium utensils, and the less honorable ones were served in gold and silver utensils. 30 years after this incident, aluminium bowls were most common with the beggars in the Paris. So initially when aluminium was newly introduced, it was so much so in fashion that Emperor Napoleon started wearing the buttons and hooks on his clothes which were made up of aluminium. But later on, after 30 years, aluminium was even prevalent amongst the beggars in the street of Paris. Okay, so we have completed the metallic minerals. Now we are moving on to the non-metallic minerals. Mica is mineral made up of series of plates or leaves. It splits easily into thin sheets. These thin sheets can be so thin that thousands can be layered into mica sheet a few centimeters high. Mica can be clear, black green, red, yellow or brown. Due to its excellent dielectric strength, low power loss factor, insulating properties and resistance to high voltage, mica is one of the most indispensable minerals used in electric and electronic industry. So along with bauxite and copper, mica is also basically serving the electronic industry because of its properties with reference to electricity. Mica deposits are found in northern edge of Chota Nagpur Plateau, Kodarma, Gaya, Hazaribagh belt of Jharkhand is the leading producer. And if you see in Rajasthan, major mica producing area is around Ajmer. Nellore mica belt of Andhra Pradesh is also an important producer in the country. Then we have the rock minerals. Well, we are going to talk about only limestone in case of rock minerals. Rock minerals, limestone is found in association with the rocks which is composed of calcium carbonate or the calcium and manganese carbonate. It is found in sedimentary rocks of most geological formation. Limestone is the basic raw material for cement industry and essential for smelting iron ore in the blast furnace. So not much about limestone is also to be explained. Secondly, you must also go through the pie diagrams which is given over here. Now if you see with reference to production, they can ask you the percentages of limestone found in Karnataka or found in Andhra Pradesh. So these carry 1 mark questions each. Now one of the very important topic with reference to minerals, that is hazards of mining, that is disadvantage or the repercussions of the mining activities. Have you ever wondered about the efforts the miners making life comfortable for you? What are the impacts of mining on the health of the miners and the environment? Yes, of course, so far we have already understood that mining is an activity which leads to lot of diseases in human beings. And you might have noticed that how the miners work in unbearable conditions under the earth's surface, or they are working throughout the day, they are working amongst lot of dust and the noxious fumes which are emitted from the mining areas. They make the miners vulnerable to various kind of pulmonary diseases. Sometime you can also notice that we overdo the mining in one particular area, which may sometime even lead to collapsing of the roofs. Then we are talking about minerals over here, which also has a chemical composition. So sometime minerals also leads to fire in the coal mines, and constantly the lives of mine workers are constantly under the threat. The water source in the region. Now, what will be the repercussion on that in that particular area where the mining is taken up? You see, lot of dust settles on the earth's surface back. Lot of fumes settles in the atmosphere where the water is present in the form of evaporation, or even if there is groundwater which is present, even if the dust settles on the earth, with the rainfall it gets carried away along with the water into the underground of the earth's surface, where ultimately these chemicals are going to mix into the water, which makes the water contaminated and unfit for drinking purposes, which further cause the degradation of the land, soil, and also the stream and river water pollution. So these are the hazards of mining activities on the miners as well as on the environment. So with strict safety rules and regulation and implementation of the environment laws, these mining essentials need to be prevented, and that is why this industry is also known as killer industry. The last topic from this part is conservation of minerals. Now we have already understood the dependency of industries and agriculture upon the mineral deposits and substances manufactured from them. The total volume of the workable mineral deposit is an insignificant fraction, that is 1% of the earth's crust. We are rapidly consuming the mineral resource that required millions of years to be created and concentrated. The geological process of mineral formation are so slow that the rates of replenishment are infinitely small in comparison to the present rates of consumption. Mineral resources are therefore finite and non-renewable. Rich mineral deposits of our country are extremely valuable but short-lived possession. Continued extraction of the ores leads to increasing cost of mineral extraction comes from greater depth along with the decrease in quality. So we are talking about over here about the conservation of mineral. You can well imagine that because the population is going on increasing at a very fast rate, and the resources are increasing but within their same pace, the rate of growth of population and the related activities, it is much more as compared to the rate of growth of their resources, because it is a natural phenomena that goes continuously on the earth's surface, and it may take million and million of years to form these resources again, if reckless use and indiscriminate unjudicious use of these minerals is carried on. So there is largely demand that minerals must be used with a very thoughtfulness in your mind, and further its conservation is even more important. Not only using it judiciously but also making efforts for its quick replenishment back in the nature is also important. So mineral conservation is overall a very important phenomena about of your minerals. A concentrated efforts has to be made in order to use minerals in a resource and planned and sustainable manner. Improved technology need to be constantly evolved to allow use of low grade ores at low cost. Recycling of metals, using scrap metals and other substitutes are steps in conserving our mineral resources for the future use. So technology, then recycling, and using the scrap material and the substitute material in place of the minerals which are already less or are already at the wake of extinction. So these minerals should be used with lot of care. Thank you. So now we are moving on to the next part of the chapter, in which we are going to understand about energy resources. See, you can well understand that without energy, no activity can be done. Whether you talk about human beings, or you talk about animals, or you talk about any other work that is to be done. Take, for example, a simple example of a car. You cannot run a car, or you cannot start a car without energy in it, without the fuel in it, which is going to provide ignition to the engine, and then further the machinery is going to work. So energy is very, very important, which propels the vehicles or the machinery in the industries. Energy can be generated from various fuels such as coal, petroleum, natural gas, uranium, and electricity, etc. And these energy resources are very much available in our environment itself. But you see, energy resources, you see that with reference to the conventional energy resources, there is a issue that these are being depleted at a very fast rate. So therefore we have to look for some kind of substitutes which are available to us. So for that matter, if we segregate the energy resources in two categories, one is the conventional source and one is the non-conventional source. The conventional sources includes all those sources of energy forms which we have been using right from the beginning. The traditional sources like firewood, kettle dungs, coal, petroleum, natural gas, electricity or hydroelectricity, as well as thermal electricity. And non-conventional sources are those which have been lately found, the new founded resources, such as, you can give example over here like solar energy, wind energy, tidal energy, geothermal energy, biogas energy, atomic energy, etc. So because there is large scale depletion of the resources which of the conventional resources which is going on, therefore in order to meet the requirement of energy resources for the future generation, we have to create new alternatives, and those alternatives we have found in the form of non-conventional sources. No doubt that these resources were already existing in the environment, but because of the lack of technical know-how, we could not tap these resources till now. So further, with the advancement of the technology, maybe still we will be able to find many new substitutes and many new energy resources in the coming future. So let us understand the first category first. The first one is conventional sources of energy. As I've already told you, conventional sources means the traditional sources which we have been using from quite a long years back. The first name in this category is that of coal. You know that coal is an indispensable source of energy. It has been used right from the time immemorial, when the trains were initially introduced in different countries. Coal is being used in household work, etc., and industries for different types of purposes. Wherever the ignition was required, coal was used as a fuel. So it provides a substantial part of nation's energy needs. It is used for power generation, supply energy to industry, as well as for domestic needs, and India is highly dependent on coal for meeting its commercial energy requirements also. You know that there are large coal fields which are present in different parts of our country towards the eastern and southern part of our country. So those resources have been exploited to a greater extent in order to meet the commercial energy requirement of our country. As you are already aware that coal is formed due to compression of the plant material over the million of years. So what happened in this, that any form of plants, twigs or any vegetation that falls onto the earth's surface, it reaches down to a level in the earth's surface where it decomposes under the prevailing conditions of temperature and pressure, and due to which variety of coal is formed. The variety of coal is mainly lignite, bituminous, and anthracite, and all these types of coal varying in their proportion of carbon content. Their quality depends upon the location in which the type of coal is formed. Higher the level of forming the coal, less will be the carbon content and it will be less superior in quality, and deeper the coal is formed, more will be the carbon content and it will be of highest quality. So with reference to location where coal is found, let us find out the three different types of coal. Number one, I said, was lignite. Lignite is a low grade brown coal which is soft and it contains high moisture. The principal lignite reserves are in Neyveli in Tamil Nadu and are used for generation of electricity. Coal that has been buried deep and subjected to increased temperature. Now we move to the next layer. After lignite, the next layer of coal will be found deeper as compared to lignite, and that variety is called bituminous. Now, what is the reason that bituminous will be comparatively a better quality? Because as you go deep inside the earth, the pressure as well as the temperature will increase. So these two parameters works together in order to provide the quality to coal which is being formed at the deeper levels. And most important, the anthracite, that is the highest quality hard coal, which is found still deeper as compared to the bituminous coal. The carbon content also increases in anthracite coal, but anthracite coal is very hard. That is why bituminous coal is used more in case of metallurgy industries, because it possesses special value for smelting iron in the blast furnace as compared to anthracite coal also. In India, coal occurs in rock series of two main geological ages. One is Gondwana time, and which is a little over 200 million years in age, and in the tertiary deposits which are only 55 million years age. That means 200 million years and 55 million. The major resources of Gondwana coal, which are metallurgy coal, are located in Damodar Valley, that is West Bengal, Jharkhand, Jharia and Raniganj. These are very famous coal fields of India. Bokaro are important coal fields. Godavari, Mahanadi, Son and Vardha valleys also contain coal deposits. And if you talk about tertiary coals, it occurs in northeastern states of Meghalaya, Assam, Arunachal Pradesh and Nagaland. One thing which you must remember is that coal is a very bulky material and it loses its weight during the transportation time, as you have seen that at the time of transshipment, some bigger boulders of the coals, because of the breakage, it turns into ashes. So therefore it is very important that the industry which is consuming coal as a raw material must be located close to the coal fields. So with that, we have completed coal. The next important conventional source is petroleum. Now, petroleum, everybody knows that it is one of the important fuel which is required in order to run the economy, or which is required in order to actually give movement to the economy. Without petroleum, we cannot think of doing anything, because probably we will be able to do anything only when we reach our destination. So that is why petroleum is one such fuel which actually brings economy into movement. It provides fuel for heat and lighting, lubricants for machinery, and raw materials for number of manufacturing industries. So petroleum is not only used as a fuel, but it is also used as a raw material for various other industries, like you can say chemical industries, you can say cosmetic industry, skincare products. All these things also require petroleum. Petroleum refineries act as a nodal industry for synthetic textile, fertilizers and numerous chemical industries. So most of the petroleum occurrence in India are associated with anticlines and fault traps in the rock formation of the tertiary age. Anticlines and synclines, these features you might have studied in your previous classes also. So in the anticlines, there is a layer which is non-permeable on the top. It does not allows the oil which is deposited at its base, it does not allows to permeate it or to percolate it into any other substratum. So these anticlines are the source of the petroleum, which is usually found in the sedimentary rock structure. Most important petroleum occurs in anticlines and fault traps, and in the regions of folding anticlines or domes it occurs where oil is trapped in the crust of upfolded portion, not in the downfolded portion but in the upfolded portion. The oil bearing layer is porous limestone or sandstone through which oil may flow, and the oil is prevented from rising or sinking by the intervening non-porous layers. First layer is porous. It allows the oil to pass on to the further layers, but the layers which are on the topmost and the bottommost, those are impermeable layers, and it does not allows further penetration of the oil into other layer. That is why oil is found as deposits at one particular position. Petroleum is also found in fault traps between the porous and non-porous rocks. Gas being lighter usually occur above the oil. So whenever you find a petroleum reserve, obviously gas will also be emitted out of it. So along with the petroleum, it is also a reserve of gas. But yes, of course, we must always keep one thing in mind, that these resources must be in abundant and ample quantity so as to make it technologically as well as economically feasible to extract them out. About 63% of India's petroleum production is from Mumbai High, 18% from Gujarat, and 16% from Assam. From the map, three major offshore fields of Western India are Ankleshwar, most important field of Gujarat. Assam is the oldest oil producing state of India, that is Digboi and Nahar Katia, and Moran, Hugrijan are important oil fields in the state. So these states, these oil fields, you need to know and you have to locate them on the map also. It can be asked from the map question point of view. Next category we have is natural gas. Natural gas is an important clean energy resource which is found in association with or without petroleum. So it is not necessary that every time where the petroleum is found, there the gas may also be found. Sometime it may be found in association and sometime it may be found without petroleum. It is used as a source of energy as well as an industrial raw material in petrochemical industry. Natural gas is considered an environment friendly fuel because of the low carbon dioxide emission, and it is therefore the fuel for the present century. So you can give example with reference to this here, that various vehicles have been turned into CNG vehicles. This is only because it creates less of pollution in the society. Large reserves of natural resources have been discovered in Krishna Godavari Basin. Along with the where they are located, we are talking about that. So it is Krishna Godavari Basin along the western coast of reserves of Mumbai High, and allied fields are supplemented from the finds in Gulf of Cambay. Andaman Nicobar Islands are also important here, and ample of natural gas is also available in this. And the most important pipeline which supplies the natural gas or even petroleum in slurry forms is 1700 kilometer long Hazaria Vijaypur Jagdishpura, which cross country gas pipeline links Mumbai High and Basin with the fertilizers, power and industrial complex in the western northern India. This artery has provided an impetus to India's gas production. Power and fertilizer industries are the key users of natural gas. compressed natural gas. This 1700 kilometer long Hazaria Vijaypur Jagdishpura, which cross country gas pipeline links Mumbai High and Basin with the fertilizers powered and industrial complex in the western northern India. This artery has provided an impetus to India's gas production. Power and fertilizer industries are the key users of natural gas. Compressed natural gas, that is CNG, for the vehicle has replaced the liquid fuels, gaining wide popularity in the country. So you already know that CNG is most preferred fuel for the buses and autos and taxis these days in major metropolitan countries, because other fuels are producing lot of emission into the environment, which causes pollution. So this HVJ pipeline, again you must know to plot it on the map, because this question is usually asked in your board exams. The next we talk about electricity. So electricity can be in the hydel form or it can be in the thermal form. So we are going to discuss both hydroelectricity as well as thermal electricity. Electricity is, you cannot imagine the uses of electricity worldwide in our day-to-day activities, whether you are sitting simply at home or you are doing work at the highest level. You require electricity for each and everything, and electricity is somewhere, it is again equally responsible for bringing development of the economies, per capita income. Everything is totally dependent on electricity, because it is one of the major prerequisite in order to start any work. So electricity is mainly generated in two ways. Number one is by running the water, which drives the hydro turbines to generate hydroelectricity. That means water is made to flow from a sudden height, and when that water falls on the turbine starts moving, which further helps the generators to move, and electricity is generated. This is called hydroelectricity. And then after the generation, this hydroelectricity is transmitted through the grid system simultaneously for various uses. Similarly, we have thermal power, thermal electricity, which is generated by using coal, petroleum and natural gas. The thermal power stations use non-renewable fossil fuels for generating hydroelectricity, and there are around 310 thermal power plants in India. And if you talk about major hydroelectricity power plants, then we have Bhakra Nangal, Damodar Valley Corporation, Kopili Hydel Project, etc. And again, you must be able to plot them on the map also. So these were all about the conventional sources, in which we have discussed about coal, petroleum, natural gas and electricity in the form of hydroelectricity and thermal electricity. Now we are going to move on to the next source, that is of conventional energy resources, next source of energy resources, which is non-conventional energy resources. Now non-conventional, as I have already told you, are the energy resources which are lately found. Latest technological advancement led to discovery of these resources. But yes, these resources were already present in the environment, but due to lack of technical know-how and lack of experiences, we were not able to use these resources so far. But now you see, there is growing consumption of energy by the population of the country, which has led to further increase in the demand of more of energy resources. Therefore, the dependency on the conventional sources has to be diverted towards the non-conventional energy resources. Moreover, the resources are not growing at the same pace at which the population grows. Resources are not able to pace up their replenishing process at the same rate at which the people increase their population. So therefore it is very, very important for us to find the substitute of the present energy resources, so that the future generation may not have to compromise on their needs. So moreover, increasing use of fossil fuels also cause a serious environmental disbalance. Ecological system also gets disturbed. So therefore it is very important that these new methods of or new discoveries of energy resources are to be made, so that everybody's need can be fulfilled. And if you take examples of these energy resources, these are solar energy, wind energy, tide energy, biomass, and energy from the waste material. These are called non-conventional energy resources. So let us discuss the non-conventional sources of energy. Let us consider the first example of non-conventional source of energy. It is nuclear energy or atomic energy. You see, these days there is lot of tussle going on between different countries. They want to be known as a nuclear power with their weapons, etc. So that is mainly because nuclear energy is the most upcoming energy form. Although we have known it from quite long years, but due to the technical know-how, increase in the technology, we have probably discovered it in new form. It is obtained by altering the structure of atoms. When such an alteration is made, much energy is released in the form of heat, and it is used to generate electric power. For example, uranium, thorium, which are available in Jharkhand and Aravali Hills in Rajasthan, they are used for atomic or nuclear power. Monzite sands in Kerala is also rich in thorium. So nuclear energy is also an important source of conventional energies, non-conventional energies. Next we have solar energy. Very long back we have been using this kind of energy, because India is mainly a tropical country, and being in the tropical region, it has enormous supply of solar energy continuously throughout the year. And through with the help of photovoltaic technology, we can convert this solar light directly into electricity. And because it is a renewable resource, so it gets replenished every day, and it does not comes to an end, and it is not going to extinguish. So this energy resource is also very important and a very reliable source of energy for us in the coming future. Some big solar power plants are being established in different parts of India also, and you can see that largely in village areas also solar systems or the solar panels have been installed in different houses, and large scale use. People are being motivated to use solar energy in place of cow dung, cakes, and firewood, etc., which in turn causes lot of pollution. Then we have wind power. Wind power, you see, on the similar basis, one thing which must be kept in mind is that the location is one of the major factor in turning out these resources, or these resources to actually become potential resources. Now wind may not be a source of energy in any region, because wind is probably blowing in every area, but where it blows with stronger intensity, with the stronger velocity, there only wind can be tapped as a potential resource. And you can see that windmills can be established in order to tap the blowing wind, and further it can be converted into energy. The similar process goes on here with the movement of the windmills. The turbines begin to move and electricity can be generated. So some of the favorable locations for the wind as a resource is Tamil Nadu, from Nagarcoil to Madurai. Apart from these, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Gujarat, Kerala, Maharashtra, Lakshadweep have important wind farmyards. Nagarcoil and Jaisalmer are well known for effective use of wind energies in the country. Then we have in rural area, mainly this energy form is largely prevalent, that is biogas. Shrubs, farm waste, animals and human waste are all used to produce biogas for domestic consumption in rural area. This is just a simple phenomena which works on a very easily constructing structure, the structure which can be very easily constructed at a very nominal cost, and probably these structures are filled with every kind of waste that is dumped in any area, and it is further led to decompose. When the decomposition takes place, it emits gases out of which, and that gas can be used in the form of energy resources. Biogas is by far most efficient use of cattle dung. It improves the quality of manure and also prevents the loss of trees and manure due to burning of fuel wood and cow dung cakes. So after the gases have been utilized, further the decomposed material can be used as a manure in the field. Next category we have that of tidal energy. Tidal energy means the energy which is created due to the striking of the waves or tides, not waves exactly, tides, the high tides. Oceanic tides, when they strike on the coast, it has immense power in it. So that energy can be used to rotate the turbines, and further this energy can be utilized in different forms. So floodgates, dams are built across inlets. During high tide, water flows into the inlets and gets trapped when the gate is closed. After the tide falls outside floodgate, the water retained by the floodgate flows back to the sea via pipeline and carries it through the power generating turbines. So that is how, with the help of tidal energy, even power can be generated. In India, we have tidal energy sources at Gulf of Kambat, Gulf of Kutch in Gujarat, and western coast and Gangetic deltas in Sundarban regions of West Bengal. They provide us the efficient tidal energy sites. The last one in this category is geothermal energy. Geothermal means the heat that is coming from within the earth's surface, from inside the earth's surface. So that is the geothermal energy. Again, it depends upon whether this is just a natural phenomena or it can actually be converted into potential resource. Depends upon the area where these energies are being produced in larger amounts. So geothermal energy exists because the earth grows progressively hotter with the increasing depth. As we move deeper inside the earth, you know that the temperature goes on increasing. Where the geothermal gradient is high, high temperature are found at shallow depth. Groundwater in such area absorbs heat from the rocks and becomes hot. It is so hot that when it rises to the earth's surface, it turns into steam. So geothermal energy is mainly tapped in the form of steam, which is emitting out from the interior of the earth, and this steam is further used in order to move the turbine and generate the electricity. You can yourself also, you might have noticed at home that steam, if sometime accidentally we burn ourselves with the steam, that causes a greater that creates a greater burning sensation as compared to burning with the water. So steam is also a great energy resource. So there are several hundreds hot springs in India which could be used to generate electricity, and various projects have also been started with reference to geothermal energy in India. Lastly, the topic which we have is again very important, similarly as we did for the mineral resources, energy resources and its conservation. Conservation of these resources is very important, whether it is mineral resource, whether it is soil as a resource, or it is water as a resource. All the resources require conservation, because the rate at which they are being depleted or they are being used by the human being for their own requirements is going to deplete these resources very quickly. Every sector of national economy, agriculture, industry, transport, commercial and domestic, needs inputs of energy. Economic development plans implemented since independence necessarily required increasing amount of energy to remain operational. As a result, the consumption of energy in all form is steadily rising all over the country. In this background, there is an urgent required, so there we need urgently, we are required to take steps in order to adopt the best method of sustainable development, so that these resources get enough of time to be replenished again, and these resources may be available for the future generation also. So India is presently one of the least energy efficient country in the world. We have to be very cautious and very judicious in the utilization of energy resources as well as other resources, so that these energy resources may last for a long time. Thank you.